No, that's crazy. I mean, and then, you made this decision now, like you said before, you just make the decision and then find a way to make it right,
Yep.
right? But what was your parents saying about this? I'm sure they supported you, but, now you're transferring to a place where you can put football a little bit more ahead of what it was, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. When I first told my parents, I mean, I was calling them every week, sometimes a couple of times a week, just talking about how miserable I was at West Point. I hate this. I can't stand this. I hate it here. This sucks. and my mom had this image in her mind from all the research that we did together, all the people that we had talked to that told her about all the amazing things that come with a West Point education, that come with graduating from the United States Military Academy, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And so she really saw that as being just a humongous opportunity for me. And she was, so proud that I was going there. And she was definitely disappointed. You're going to walk away from a West Point education to go to a school like Wyoming. So there was a little bit of disappointment there. And my dad was, always, very supportive in terms of, not that my mom wasn't, but my dad was always, hey, you're a grown man, you make your decisions and you make it right.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier. And so it wasn't until Parents Weekend, which was one of the last games of the season, where my parents actually flew out, and they just could see the look on my face. Just going through the day-to-day, seeing kind of how I was living, the situations that we were in at West Point. And that was when my mom finally was like, okay, let's get you out of here. And they actually sat with me when I went to go talk to the head coach down at West Point on the actual real team to tell him that I was leaving. And then from there, making the transition and going to Wyoming, I mean, talk about extreme culture shock. From Hawaii to New York, upstate New York, in the military academy, having not been exposed to any military background at all, then to going to Laramie, Wyoming.
Yes.
The first week that I was in Laramie, Wyoming, there was one day where Laramie was the coldest place on the face of the planet. It was negative 47, negative 60 with wind chill.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And I remember walking to football practice at like 5 a.m, pitch black outside, freezing, winds blowing, just thinking, wow, I might have made a mistake. I might have made a big mistake.
Well, let's talk about like your college career, and we'll fast forward a little bit. There's so many other things we could dive into. Not to take anything away from your college career, but let's talk about, at Wyoming, you got to play 4 years, right? Did you have a redshirt season or anything? Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the beauty actually of the prep school at Army and the military academies, is they don't actually count. That year doesn't count towards your eligibility. So I came into Wyoming and was actually able to have a redshirt year as well.
Oh, okay.
And so I stepped into Wyoming, and kind of similar to my high school situation where they were very well established with the guys that they had on the field.
Got it.
A couple of those guys at the defensive back position actually ended up making it to the NFL. Okay. So I kind of had to sit and bide my time. But after that first redshirt season, I actually had the opportunity in my redshirt freshman year to start. So
you started for 4 years pretty much.
That's where my college career gets interesting as well. I mean, things can. I mean, we've been talking for a while now already.
No. Let's dive into that real briefly. Yeah.
So I had the most unique college career probably out of anybody in terms of I started more games earlier in my career than I did later in my career.
Got it.
That was a factor of a lot of different things. But that first year, I was the number 2 at both strong and free safety.
Okay.
And game 4, I believe, of the season, our strong safety goes down with a minor tear in his MCL. So I got to step in and had the opportunity to play right away. And after my first game that I got to go in, I actually had a great game. And there were, some people that were asking, who is this kid? Why hasn't he been playing this whole season already? And then, from there, it was just the floodgates opening in terms of I started the rest of the season. First game the next week was my first official start was against Michigan State. So,
Got it.
that was a big game. To be able to play that as a school I always wanted to go to.
Who was your dad rooting for?
He was wearing a Wyoming shirt and Michigan State hat.
Yeah, at least you had the shirt.
Yeah. I seen him. I was like, okay, I appreciate it. I thought you were gonna go all the way around. Michigan State shirt, Wyoming hat.
Yeah.
Had a pretty good game there. Under my belt as well, and had a decent first season. But where my career got interesting was how I mentioned earlier. I've always been pegged as the plug and play guy, the versatile guy, where we can move him around because the football IQ is there, the athletic ability to play multiple positions, the physicality to play up in the box is there. So I got pegged as that guy early in my career. I started at strong safety, played a couple of games there. Our free safety goes down. They moved me to free safety. Played the rest of the season there. Then next season, we're short at linebacker. So
That's right.
They moved me up to play the nickel, Sam kind of hybrid position. Then our strong side linebacker gets injured, our will linebacker. Yeah. So they moved me into the box. And
I remember you telling me this because how big were you? Because you were a secondary player, right?
Yeah, I'm like 5'11", 200 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
And I'm eating McDonald's every night sometimes just to try and put on some pounds and keep on the weight in the season. Because everybody who's played football, you shed the weight in the season. Yeah. Mixing it up in the box with these massive human beings in front of me on the line and even running backs at the college level, and I'm playing in the box. So, just moving around, it was something I was happy to do. I'll always do what's best for the team, and sacrifice for the team. I have no problem with it. But I think that also kind of led to not being able to get comfortable, right? Yeah. So how I talked about earlier, where after a few years and you spend that time playing on the field, you have the comfortability now where you're not so nervous before the play and you can slow things down and really pinpoint little things that give you an advantage. Where if you can't get comfortable in a position or learning the playbook, which, the playbook at the college level is a whole nother story, right? It's a little bit more difficult to really play. Yeah. Really let things fly and fly around with reckless abandon and not be thinking. I remember when they finally moved me to inside linebacker, my fourth position that I played, in college, or fifth actually. Yeah. We were watching film one day and my head coach was like, "What the hell are you doing here? It looks like somebody's pressing a pause button on you at the beginning of the play," because I was just so stuck in analysis paralysis. Yeah. So much was happening. It was like the play would start and everybody would start flowing and I would still be trying to read what was going on. And so I played slower. And, circumstances are always circumstances and you can only control what you can control. And, I can say, this and this and that were the reason why, I didn't play more, or I didn't have a more maybe successful career in my eyes. But, I think that there's also, a lot of things that I could have done myself, that would have positioned me better, made me a better player and made me allow myself to really, be able to find that comfortability and that comfort. But yeah, it was interesting because I started 8 games as a freshman, started 7 games as a sophomore. Okay. I started 3 as a junior, and I didn't start any as a senior. My senior year, they actually moved me back to safety after playing linebacker all these years. And at that point in time, our 2 guys were younger than me, and they actually play in the NFL now. So, they're going to move you back to safety, but chances are you're probably not going to start. We kind of got our guys. And so, you know, I got pegged as that utility guy, that versatile guy. But a lot of times it maybe added some additional roadblocks along the way.
And, you know, that's around the time when I first met you, I think, because I was thinking, they're putting you at linebacker, but you're naturally a safety, and your size, right? You know, it is a little disadvantage, but like you said, you just make it work. So you find ways to work hard and just do your best at it.
Absolutely.